Hello and welcome to another episode of Mike and Dave's Hi-Fi Riff. I'm Mike Evans.
And I'm David Price.
And David, on this week's episode, what are we going to be talking about?
We're going to be talking about an NAD M33 integrated amp mic.
Very exciting stuff.
As if you didn't know.
This is right up my alley. I really like this. Just before we start,
Yeah.
I just want to mention that I've just been to your loo.
Oh dear.
And in your loo, I found something really quite interesting. I found this, look. It's called The LP is Back.
Yeah.
And it's not a magazine, it's a book. I mean, the amount of stuff and information in here. I've never seen a book with sort of more graphs and
It's brilliant.
and algebra and oh my god. And can I just say as well, on pages 10 onwards, there seems to be a lot of writing and scribbling. Is that you? Have you been writing? You have. I know you have. You're sad. You're just sad. There we are.
Well, anyway,
There we are. Moving on.
That I've read that now. I've
Yes.
made my notes.
Yes.
So this is what I'm reading now.
Surrounded by idiots. Great. Thanks.
So,
But that's
here we
plural. Where are the other ones?
go. So, silence is golden is one chapter. So,
Oh well.
there
This,
we go.
if you have,
I thought of you when I got that book, Mike.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Only indirectly, of course.
So silence is golden unless you have one of these.
Yes.
Look at this. This is a gorgeous,
Whoa.
gorgeous piece of equipment.
Yeah.
I think it's stunning. I think it looks really, really cool.
It does.
This M33.
Yeah.
There's nothing this amp won't do.
Yes.
I mean, it just does everything you can possibly
Yes.
imagine, doesn't it?
Yes.
It's an amp.
It's an amp.
It streams.
Yes.
It just does so many things. It's got 1 billion inputs.
It has.
In fact, I'm going to try and do this. I don't know why I volunteered to do this, but let's let me just see if I can. We can just spin
Rather
that
you
around.
than me.
I know. How's that
So
looking?
it's bridged. You just hold it there, Mike, for a while.
Thanks very much.
I'll go through every
You go for
feature.
it, yes.
Oh, I've forgotten what that is now. Anyway, so it's got some stuff there, and it's got some. Just keep it still,
Yes,
Mike.
great. We're doing really well here.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Anyway, that's what the back looks like. It's
That's
just
brilliant.
lots of digital inputs.
Can I put it down now?
basically, Yeah.
Well, there's everything on there you can possibly imagine, isn't there?
Yeah.
And a couple of other things. It comes
dear.
with a really, really super cool remote control.
Yeah.
Feel that. That's proper premium remote
Yeah.
there, isn't it? And it matches this.
Do you know why it's so heavy?
You've got about 10 batteries in
Yes.
there. Absolutely. It's even got little buffers, look, so you can put it on your desk and
Yeah.
make it look like an ornament.
So thank you, NAD, for not supplying the batteries.
No.
I no longer can no longer use my Sony Walkman Professional.
They've saved
four
about
AA batteries.
They've saved about 200 quid per unit for the amount of batteries you need for the remote.
Yes.
But they've supplied this. Look at this. This little stack here are magnetic feet, magnetic pucks, look, which are really cool. And they go underneath because they've got spiky feet.
Yep.
So they go underneath the NAD. And, so if you don't want to scratch your hi-fi shelf, then you're in business. So excellent.
It's really clever, actually, because I really hate spiky feet. So whenever I get a hi-fi product out of the box that's got spiky feet, I'm cursing, basically.
Interesting.
And because I just think they're a gimmick and they're sort of overkill. That's probably, you probably can't say that. Everyone on the forums will probably be angry with me.
Yes. Again.
But yes, but these have got magnetic spiky
They
feet.
have.
So you don't run the risk of them falling off when you're trying to put the thing on the shelf.
It's
and all
very
that.
cool. It's just
Really
nice
well
all.
done.
And do you know what? I think the whole amp is really well done.
Yeah.
I really do. It's beautifully put together. Really cool software. You've got Blue OS. You've got. You can plug in your router straight into it if you want to. It's got. You can stream via Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
There's nothing it can't do.
MMMC phono, 6 digital inputs. 3 pairs of analog inputs, and a full touchscreen on the front panel.
Really nice touchscreen.
So,
and what I really love is when we turned it on straight out the box, the default setting are 2 lovely big VU meters.
Yes.
I mean, I fell in love with it immediately.
I thought you might.
What is not to like? What is not to like? But I think the point we're making here is it's totally future-proofed.
I think, as far as you could accurately say.
Exactly.
But,
Yeah.
it's a really clever bit of kit. But actually, the cleverness is on the inside almost, because It's got a great user interface, a gazillion features and functions, but it's also got NAD's latest take on Class D. And we were quite interested in this, weren't we? Because
100%.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because we're kind of I wouldn't say we're kind of allergic to Class D.
No, we did a review on a French Class D amplifier a year or so ago, which was really cool.
It was
actually.
really
We really
good.
loved that. Yeah. But we have also done reviews on Class D amps where we haven't been convinced.
Or we've just been sort of underwhelmed, or just thought, it's quite nice, but
Yes.
So I mean, Class D is work in progress. I mean, you could say Class A is work in progress. Every technology is work in progress. It's all about how you do it, isn't it? But I think Class D's been on a steeper learning curve because it's been around for a long time.
Yes.
That the actual type of switching amp system is not new, but it's really come to the fore in the last 10 years, I guess, and it's still being developed. And the NADs, it's called Hybrid Digital Purify Eigentakt.
Thank you for that.
Yes.
Say that again.
No. So, but basically the people behind it are some very clever people who've got real, as it were, provenance and pedigree with Class D. Have been big players, including Bruno Putzis, who did the sort of Encore Class D chips, which are very popular now.
Yes.
So basically, a kind of superstar design team of Class D are now working for NAD, and this is the result. And it's 200 watts into 8 ohms per channel. It's claimed, and nearly twice that into 4. And this amp also offers bridged operation, so you can get 700 watts out of it.
Wow.
If it's bridged. So yeah, very clever stuff. And also it's got some slots in it, which are called Modular Design Construction.
Thank you.
And that's MDC for short.
I was going to say, I thought it might be. Yeah.
So, and it's also got a...
Stands for Mike and Dave are cool.
Yes, and that's probably the original meaning.
Yes, that's right. That's why they put it in there. Yeah.
So basically it's got kind of some sort of degree of future proofing, as far as you can say that, and it's got a very good quality ESS Sabre DAC in it as well. So it's just got so many kind of cool things, hasn't it?
It has.
So.
And I think it sounds really good.
Yes.
I think it sounds really, really excellent.
Yeah.
And it took me by surprise. Yeah. And I don't know why I say that, because...
So you're a snob.
Well, it's probably because I'm a snob. But we've gosh, you and I have been listening to NAD equipment since we were teenagers, and we've never failed to be impressed by it. And we've always been huge NAD fans. And I love the modern take. I love the modern look with the touch screens, and I've been beguiled by them at hi-fi shows and all sorts of things.
Yeah.
So I don't know why I was in any way at all surprised, but it sounded fantastic, and I really enjoyed it. And we plugged it into your NS1000s.
Yeah.
And because of all the things you just said, I had no problem at all driving them.
Yeah.
In fact, it drove them really, really well.
Yeah.
Totally, thoroughly enjoyed it. Particularly, I felt it had an awful lot of control in the bottom end.
Yes.
Which actually, we have had issues with some other Class Ds we've listened to. Because
wobbly jelly bass on some of them.
And it wasn't like that at all, was it? It was fast, dynamic. One thing which really blew me away was how big the soundstage was.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just massive, and it's like the first thing you notice.
Yep.
And in fact, we'd listened to a couple of amplifiers during our little listening session, and this just seemed to sort of, open everything up.
Yeah.
Amazing how it does that. Really clever stuff. And as you say, there's a team of boffins there at NAD who have really, done the homework on this and made a great job. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, so we were sort of running through some stuff. And are you a Depeche
mode? Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Enjoy the silence.
Do you know the first CD you ever bought was Depeche Mode? you bought their compilation CD. I remember that really well because that was the first CD I ever heard.
Yeah.
And it was on your. Did you have a Yamaha CD player?
CDX2.
Yamaha Natural Sound CDX2.
Yeah.
It sounded really bright and horrible on it, didn't it? Haven't things moved on since then?
Yeah.
Shame you haven't still got it though. Maybe you have.
I haven't.
No, what a shame. What a shame. But a really nice album. Well recorded.
Yeah.
Suits this really nicely.
It's lovely. Yeah, I mean it's the sound staging I think is very apparent with Enjoy the Silences off this album.
Yes.
Just really wide and expansive, wasn't it? And there's a lot of detail coming through, and as you said before, very strong chugging bass.
Yes.
So I think this is their last great album. I think that's
okay.
But that'll probably anger a lot of Depeche Mode
Well,
fans.
we upset someone with our REM comments
Yes.
the other day, saying that the last great album was Document. So apologies, we don't mean to upset people. It's our own personal opinion, isn't it? So and but we do mean to upset some people, but not everybody.
No, absolutely. So we
just people who don't agree with us.
Absolutely. So apart from that, we're very broad-minded.
We're very broad-minded.
So anyway,
Prodigy, not the Fat of the Land album.
Not the Fat of the Land. I like this one more than Fat of the Land, which is probably the wrong thing to say.
Oh God, here we go.
All of the all of the Prodigy fans reckon that was a brilliant album. I think it was too.
I think pretty much when we're talking about music, everything we talk about is subjective. But I think when we're talking about hi-fi, then I think we do try and be very, very honest with our reviews. And this again worked beautifully with that.
Yeah,
it worked fantastically well. And I don't think it would matter who was in our listening room or your listening room. Hearing what we've just heard, they'd agree. You'd have to agree with that. It really does sound lovely.
It does. I mean, the track Outer Space in particular, massive, thunderous, incredibly solid, chunky, sort of coruscade of power and this thing just moved the air around the room really well, didn't it? And the bass on this is truly superb, I think. So I would say it's not quite as tight. It is tight. It is very tight, but it's not quite as tight as the Riga Ethos that we did.
No.
Just as a fraction in it, but this is slightly more sumptuous. I think.
I'm not sure though. We're quite sort of measuring sort of apples and apples. I think this does so much more than the Riga does. This isn't just an amp, is it?
Yeah.
Whereas the Riga has got one purpose in life, and that is it. And I think ultimately, probably something like the Riga or the Exposure or the Cyrus is probably a better. Let's say Riga and the Exposure.
Yeah.
Probably better amps, but the Cyrus and this do much more. They've got DACs built in and all of these things.
Yes. So they're more a kind of SUV of
a great way to put it.
Of an amp, aren't they? Rather than a kind of Caterham 7 or whatever.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So,
and in fact, when you go back to the amps we used to listen to when we were, in our teens, things like, NVAs and name nates, there were no tone controls.
Yeah.
They were just all they did was increase the signal. And now we've evolved to something like this, which just does everything. It's all singing, all dancing.
It's going for a different type of buyer to the Riga Ethos and the sort of Exposure 3510, isn't it?
Yes.
That kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's also got a fantastic streaming front end built in, and so that in itself adds a lot of value to it. And if it didn't have that, then it would be substantially cheaper. So
do you know what I really love about this?
Yeah.
It's just a one-box solution.
Yep.
And in fact, all you need is this and a pair of speakers, and that's it. That you don't need anything else, and it would just work, wouldn't it? And I can't help but think, there's a lot to be said for that. I mean, our systems, we love it, and it's sort of our passion. But we have a lot of boxes, don't we? I think of all those crazy Exposure amps I've got all over the place just to do the same job this is doing, plus a streamer, plus et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Whereas actually, just this and a pair of speakers and you're there. And
okay, well, I'll take you up on that, Mike. You can give me your old Exposure amps that you don't need because this now exists, a product like this.
Yes. Okay. All right. You're calling my bluff a little bit here. But I think you see where I'm coming from. If I were getting into hi-fi and I wanted to not have all the boxes and all these things, then I think it's an elegant, beautiful looking machine.
I think you're right, and I think the problem is that normally, it's convenience and features versus performance, and this I would say this is one of the best Class D amps I've heard. Firstly, I would still say that I prefer the Exposure 3510, the Riga Ethos, and the Sugden that we've mentioned in other riffs for their own reasons. In absolute terms,
in terms of sound quality.
Yes, in terms of sound, but not by much actually.
Less than you'd imagine.
Yeah, that's a really interesting thing. So normally it's a slam dunk. You either get built-in streaming and Bluetooth and crap sound, or you get great sound but no features. Basically. And I think what NAD or NAD are trying to do here is just a really great modern amplifier that does an awful lot of things very well, very seamlessly, and it's not just about the functionality; it's about the sound quality and the power as well. They're sort of scoring across the, if it's like a sort of Olympics. Gymnastics final or something. Everyone
decathlon or
absolutely,
something.
People hold up these, marks for different things right across.
But you've got to be good at everything. You can't. If you're rubbish at long jump, you can't win. You've got to be really good at everything.
Exactly that. Yes. And it's sort of hitting 8s and 9s and 10s
consistently
right across the board.
What a great analogy.
Yeah. Whereas the aforementioned Riga or Exposure or Sugden hit 5s on some things,
and they're not even taking part in some of the competitions.
Or absolutely, but then they hit 10s as well on others. So this is kind of jack of all trades and master of many of them. Master of most. And it's all put together very seamlessly. It's very beautifully built.
It is.
And it's got sort of endless feature proofing as well. And it looks really nice. I have to say, it's the best looking NAD amp I've ever seen.
It's glorious.
It's certainly come a long way since my 3120 I had. 40 odd years ago.
It's really nice to use. Although having said that, you do need a degree in astrophysics to make everything work.
Yes.
Again, if you're with the other amps we mentioned, you plug them in and go. With this, you need to sort of set it up and
it's a learning curve,
because it's got things like active room assessment or whatever it is,
it's
isn't
got
it? And
Dirac Live, which is absolutely fantastic. I mean, I haven't on this particular amp, I've not done that, but digital signal processing, there is definitely a market for it, I think, and I choose not to use it, but I can see a lot of people being...
I'd have a play with it, most definitely. It's interesting. So going back to your point, which I think is absolutely valid, your decathlon point, I think there aren't many amps which would beat this in a decathlon. I think this is it. I think if that's what you're looking for, an all-rounder that does everything, I can't think of too many amps which are better than this. I really can't. At whatever price, because once you start going into sort of £5,000, £6,000, then they don't have the same functionality. It's very unusual to have an amp with everything in, with all this functionality. I think it's one of the best all-rounders I've heard.
It just makes such a strong case for itself.
It does.
And sound quality wise, I would say still that the sort of Sugdens of this world, the Rigas, Ethos of this world are a wee bit more fun to listen to and have a little bit better on the kind of dynamic accenting. But this wins in other ways. It's got a massive soundstage left to right. It's really immersive, isn't it?
It is.
We played the Kraftwerk Tour de France album again, as we have done very often of late.
It's an acid test, isn't it? It's got that thumping bottom end. It can trip amplifiers up.
But it really pulls you in, and it's laden with detail as well. So there's no sense of it being at a disadvantage or very little for being Class D. I think it's swings and roundabouts, and you could say that with any amp. You could say that about the Cyrus i9 XR versus the the sort of the Riga Ethos. The swings and roundabouts is good and bad. So it's not like it's sort of handicapped, as it were, by being an amp of this design. Quite the reverse. So if you're looking for this kind of thing,
here we go.
Makes a really good case for itself.
It certainly does. It certainly does. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's do a riffometer on
Yes.
it. What are you going to give it?
I'm going to give it a 9.
Are you? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Mike's he can't stop playing with it now. So
you're giving a Class D amplifier a 9. Wow.
I know. Don't tell anyone.
Amazing. That's so cool.
Mike's just checking out the switches on the back, the sockets.
Balanced output. Look at that. Yeah, loads of opticals. I mean, everything, as you said, everything you need on here.
Yeah.
That is really quite wonderful. I'm going to do the same then. If you're going to be brave and give a Class D amp a 9, I'm going to do the same. And I think that's worthy of that.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. Absolutely lovely. With a glorious remote control as well. What's not to like? And magnetic feet.
Yeah, magnetic pucks.
Magnetic pucks, excellent. And
they've obviously been thinking about that.
They really have. They've thought about the whole design from top down, and absolutely. I love that thought. So congratulations, NAD, another fantastic product. And thank you so much to everybody for watching this episode of Mike and Dave's Hi-Fi Riff. We look forward to seeing you in the next one. Thanks very much.
Bye.
Bye.